Hi, I'm Peter Birch. Welcome to this week's show. In this week's show, we're going to go and see if we can find the tusked frog, one of Australia's unique and weird little creatures. We're going to be going into that to see what we can find. So this week we're going to be doing something a little bit different from the normal. We're actually going to be getting into the water and going to be getting wet and dirty. But let's cheat a little bit. I got myself a decent pair of waders. We're going to be tramping around in that slush and hopefully we're going to find something pretty cool. Woo. This week's question of the week: how many spiders did I encounter while looking for frogs? Was it lots? Was it oh my gosh? Or was it too many? Please leave a comment below. Now the reason why we've particularly picked this spot is because about 10 years ago I found these beautiful frogs right amongst this wonderful area. It doesn't really look like much, but these frogs in particular love things like small patches of creeks, they like dams and small waterways. And as you can see, this definitely fulfills exactly that. Now, they're a ground-dwelling frog, which means they're basically going to be right down on the ground. Now, this is perfect habitat right here. You got the leaf litter right up against the mud bank there, and typically they'll get underneath those leaves, up under there, and sit on the edge of the water. The males will actually create a nest, and they'll call the females in. So usually you'll be able to hear the male frogs calling away, and they have a real funny call. The call actually sounds like a real interesting call. Now we haven't heard any at the moment, but we're definitely going to have a bit of a poke around and see what we can find. And just like always, when we're pulling the leaf litter apart and we're looking down in there, we're actually disturbing a beautiful little environment. We've got to make sure that we push those leaves back, even if we're not finding anyone home, because we really want to make sure that this environment stays exactly the way it is. Even though it doesn't really look like much, this is home to some beautiful creatures. Now, you guys know how much I really don't like spiders, and unfortunately all around this area is perfect habitat. There's these water spiders. Man, I'm not a real big fan of them. And every time I see one, it just makes me cringe. Oh. But just because I don't like it doesn't mean I have to kill that beautiful creature. So we'll just let him be and we'll just keep looking around. We've got plenty of area to search here. It's all got to be done by hand too. Now the technique is to get down right on the edge of the water line here, under the leaves. And sometimes, if you're lucky, you'll find something like this. A beautiful bubble nest. Now, believe it or not, the males will actually create the bubble nest, hoping to entice the females in and allowing that female to drop her eggs so he can fertilize them in that bubble nest and hopefully produce more of these beautiful little creatures. That's a pretty good sign right there. No one's there at the moment, but like I said, we've got plenty more room to check around. Bit of a thunderstorm starting to roll in here. Conditions are absolutely ideal. Let's keep searching. Put these back. Don't want to upset that bubble nest. We just keep moving around. Well, here we are, after about 45 minutes, probably a little bit longer, trudging through that stinky mud and all that leaf litter filled with spiders. I can tell you, we finally found one. These things are absolutely magnificent. Not a big frog at all. I mean, the male's average size is about 4 centimetres, up to 5 centimetres max. Now, one of the fascinating facts about these particular frogs is the females are actually a lot smaller than the males. So it's one of the very few species that the female frogs are smaller than males. The females come in at around about 3 centimetres in size, so they're quite small. Now, they have this warty, lumpy skin on their back. They have little claws for feet, which means they live close to the ground. And as we know, they live definitely on the ground in that leaf litter. They have these beautiful red and white colours on their belly. Now typical colours like reds, yellows and blues typically means the animal is either poisonous or it's venomous, and it's not a good idea to eat that particular creature. Now this frog has actually got the red flashes just inside his legs, enough so when he's jumping away from a predator he can flash those bright colours, allowing, or hopefully allowing, that animal is going to be smart enough not to try and eat it. It's also got these beautiful big white blotches on its belly, and if it was unfortunate enough to be flipped on its belly, you know, these big blotches are absolutely spectacular. Now the reason why they call them actually tusk frogs, believe it or not, on the bottom of their jaw, they actually, at this time of the year, the males will grow the tusks. Now they'll actually use that for combat, believe it or not. So male to male combat, they'll actually open each other's mouths and they'll lunge at each other. It's just like two deers with their antlers butting each other off to get mating rights. Now believe it or not, these males have also been seen, you know, some of the males get a little bit too frisky with the smaller males and they'll actually disembowel them with their big tusks. Not very nice at all. Now as we know, it's taken us nearly an hour to find just one. These things are actually threatened species. And you can see by this particular little mud hole, you know, it's hanging on to dear life, trying to breed in this situation. The good thing is we found a frog, we found a bubble nest. You know, we're going to keep poking around, we're going to see what else we can find. Man, tell you what, you can't help but love this beautiful little frog. Oh, what do we got? We got ourselves a little one. Man, come here, little fella. This is pretty damn cool. This is an absolutely tiny little metamorph. So basically, the frog's eggs hatch with tadpoles. The tadpoles swim off. They feed on the rotting, decaying vegetation around the edge here. And then after about 3.5 months, they turn into this. So they sprout legs, their tails absorb, and they move on to hopefully produce more of their own. One of the good things I've noticed here is we haven't seen any gambusia or mosquito fish. They're well known to feed on tadpoles. They actually tear off the tails of the poor tadpoles and the tadpoles drown in the water. This in itself is an absolute gold find. I mean, we found an adult, we found an egg nest, and now we found a little metamorph. Man, these guys are threatened, but in this little isolated situation, they're really doing well for themselves. There you go, little fella. Like I said, that thing is tiny, minuscule. We'll put him right back where he was. There you go, little fella. Be free. For me, that's gold. That is absolutely so exciting. This week's question of the week: how many spiders did I encounter while looking for frogs? If you pick B, OMG, you're 100% correct. There's just way too many. One of the other cool little facts about this beautiful tusk frog is its scientific name, Atelotus brevis. Atelotus meaning hidden, which we know it did very well, and brevis meaning short, which it definitely is. I hope you enjoyed this week's show. Please leave a comment below. Hit us up on Facebook and Twitter. Until next time, you've been watching CrittaCam. See you later, little fella.
Yeah.